The rain pounded against the windshield like a relentless accusation as I drove through the darkened streets of Chicago, my hands gripping the wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I had just left the dimly lit motel room where I'd sold the last shred of my dignity to a stranger, all for the stack of cash now burning a hole in my pocket. Money that would cover Emily's next round of physical therapy. But as I swerved to avoid a pothole, a blinding flash of headlights came out of nowhere, and the world spun into chaos, my car flipping over the guardrail and plunging into the icy river below. I woke up in a haze of pain and beeping machines, the sterile smell of the hospital filling my lungs. My body ached everywhere, but the first thought that pierced through the fog was Emily. How would she manage without me? A doctor hovered nearby, explaining the extent of my injuries. Broken ribs, a concussion, and hypothermia from the water. "You're lucky to be alive," he said. "If that firefighter hadn't pulled you out in time, you'd be gone." I nodded weakly, my mind racing with guilt. Emily, my wife of 5 years, had been confined to a wheelchair since a car accident on our honeymoon. Her spinal cord damaged beyond repair. I'd promised to take care of her forever, quitting my job as a graphic designer to become her full-time caregiver, scraping by on disability checks and odd gigs. But lately, the bills had piled up, and desperation led me to the underground world of discreet encounters. Nothing explicit, just companionship for pay, but it chipped away at my soul each time. The door creaked open, and in walked a man in his mid-30s, broad-shouldered with a kind face etched by years of exhaustion. "Hey, I'm Alex," he said, his voice steady and warm, like a lifeline in the storm. "I'm the one who fished you out of the river." He was a firefighter from the local station, off-duty but happened to be driving by when he saw the crash. We talked for hours that first day, about the accident, about life in the city, about the weight of unspoken burdens. Alex had a quiet intensity, his blue eyes holding a depth that made me feel seen for the first time in years. He visited every day during my recovery, bringing coffee and stories from his shifts, tales of saving lives that masked his own loneliness. "You remind me of myself," he confessed one afternoon. "Always putting others first, forgetting about your own fire." Emily came to visit as soon as she could, her wheelchair maneuvered by a nurse. Her face lit up when she saw me, but there was a shadow in her eyes, the knowledge that our life was a fragile balance. "What happened, Mark?" she whispered, holding my hand. I lied, saying it was just a slippery road, not wanting to burden her with the truth of my sacrifices. But as Alex lingered in the background, offering to help with her transport, I felt a strange pull, a flicker of something I hadn't acknowledged in years. Back in college, I'd buried any fleeting attractions to men, choosing the safe path of heteronormative expectations, marrying Emily because she was kind and we shared dreams. Now, in this hospital room, those buried feelings stirred, complicated by loyalty and societal norms that screamed family first. Discharge day arrived, and Alex insisted on driving us home. "No arguments," he said with a grin. Our apartment in a rundown building on the south side was a far cry from luxury. Ramps I'd installed myself, medical equipment cluttering the living room. Emily thanked him profusely, and as he helped her settle in, I watched the easy way he interacted with her, respectful and genuine. That night, after she fell asleep, Alex and I sat on the fire escape, sharing a beer under the city lights. "Why do you do it all alone?" he asked. I shrugged, admitting the isolation of caregiving in a world that praised it but offered little support. "Society expects men to be providers," I said bitterly. "But what if providing breaks you?" Alex nodded, his hand brushing mine accidentally, or was it? The spark was undeniable, but I pulled away, terrified of what it meant. Over the next weeks, Alex became a fixture in our lives. He fixed the leaky faucet, cooked meals when I was too drained, and even researched new therapies for Emily. She adored him, calling him our guardian angel. But for me, it was torture. Late-night conversations revealed his own struggles. Growing up in a conservative family in rural Illinois, coming out as gay in his 20s, facing rejection from parents who still barely spoke to him. "I joined the fire department to prove I was tough," he said. But inside, I'm just searching for connection. His vulnerability mirrored mine, and one evening, as we washed dishes side by side, our eyes met, and the air thickened with unspoken desire. I stepped back, heart pounding. "I can't," I whispered. "Emily needs me." But the seed was planted, and the conflict gnawed at me. Loyalty to my vows versus the authenticity of my emerging self. Society's gaze weighed heavy. Whispers from neighbors about that helpful guy who spent too much time at our place fueled paranoia. Emily noticed my distraction, her intuition sharp despite her physical limitations. "Is everything okay?" she asked one night. I assured her it was, but guilt twisted like a knife. The drama escalated when Alex invited me to a support group for LGBTQ+ individuals in straight marriages, a controversial space where stories of hidden lives poured out. Hearing others' tales of repression and eventual liberation stirred a storm inside me. Was I sacrificing my identity for a facade of normalcy? The thought was heretical, especially with Emily's dependence on me. Yet, Alex's presence challenged everything, his quiet strength pulling me toward truth. As winter thawed into spring, tensions built. Emily's health improved slightly with a new experimental treatment Alex had found through his networks, but our finances remained precarious. I considered returning to those shadowy gigs, but Alex confronted me one day in the park. "I know what you were doing that night," he said softly, no judgment in his voice. "You don't have to live like that." His confession hung in the air. He'd pieced it together from clues. Shame flooded me, but so did relief. In that moment, under the blooming cherry blossoms, he leaned in, and our lips brushed in a tentative kiss. It was electric, awakening parts of me long dormant. But panic followed. "This is wrong." I pulled away. "I'm married." Alex's eyes filled with pain. "Is it wrong to want happiness?" The question echoed, setting the stage for the unraveling ahead. The kiss lingered in my mind like a forbidden melody, replaying during sleepless nights as Emily breathed steadily beside me. I avoided Alex for days, claiming busyness with her appointments, but he persisted with texts, simple check-ins that masked deeper longing. Chicago's bustling streets became my escape, where I wandered aimlessly, grappling with the societal chains that bound me. The expectation of heterosexual marriage as the pinnacle of stability, especially when disability entered the equation. Friends and family had always praised my devotion to Emily, calling it heroic. But heroism felt like a cage now, lined with the sharp edges of self-denial. Emily sensed the shift. One evening, as we shared takeout in our cramped kitchen, she set down her fork and fixed me with a steady gaze. "Mark, talk to me. You've been distant." Her voice was soft but probing, years of intimacy giving her insight into my turmoil. I hesitated, the weight of confession pressing down. "It's nothing." I lied again, but she wasn't fooled. "Is it Alex?" My heart stopped. How much did she know? She smiled sadly. "He's good for you, for us, but I see how you look at him." The admission hung heavy, a revelation that cracked the facade. Tears welled in her eyes. "I've suspected for a while. About you, preferring men." Shock rendered me speechless. She'd pieced it together from old college stories, from my lack of passion in our intimacy, which we'd attributed to stress. "I love you," she said, "but I don't want to be your prison." The conversation spiraled into raw honesty. Emily confessed her own frustrations, the guilt of depending on me, the fear of holding me back. "Society pits us against each other," she said bitterly. "The disabled wife and the dutiful husband. But what about your needs?" We cried together that night, a cathartic release, but it opened wounds. I admitted my confusion, the pull toward Alex, but emphasized my commitment. "I won't leave you." Yet, her words planted doubt. Was staying an act of love or cowardice? The drama intensified when her family got involved. Her conservative parents, visiting from Ohio, overheard a tense phone call with Alex and confronted me. "What's going on with that firefighter?" her father demanded, his face reddening. Accusations flew. Infidelity, abandonment of a vulnerable woman. "Men like you disgust me," he spat. invoking outdated norms that equated masculinity with unwavering heterosexuality. Word spread through our social circle, twisting the narrative. Friends divided. Some supported Emily, viewing me as selfish. Others, more progressive, urged self-discovery. Online forums I lurked on debated similar stories: men in mixed-orientation marriages, the ethics of coming out midlife, the impact on disabled spouses. It was controversial fodder, sparking arguments about duty versus authenticity. Alex, meanwhile, gave me space but showed up for Emily's therapy sessions, his presence a silent anchor. One afternoon, in the clinic waiting room, he cornered me. "I didn't mean to complicate things," he said, his voice laced with regret. "But I can't pretend I don't feel this." His honesty disarmed me, and we talked about his past. A failed relationship with a closeted partner, the sting of rejection from a community that sometimes shunned those not out enough. "Society judges us all," he mused. "Gays for not fitting the mold, straights for straying from it." As summer approached, a crisis hit. Emily's condition worsened unexpectedly. An infection from her catheter, landing her in the hospital. I was by her side constantly, but exhaustion crept in. Alex stepped up, coordinating with doctors, even using his firefighter connections for faster care. Gratitude mixed with desire, creating a volatile brew. One night, as she slept under sedation, Alex and I sat in the hallway, shoulders touching. "You're not alone," he whispered. The temptation to lean on him was overwhelming, but guilt surged. "What if this destroys her?" I asked. He didn't have answers, only empathy. The hospital became a microcosm of our conflicts. Nurses gossiping about the two men always here. Judgmental stares from visitors reinforcing societal biases against non-traditional relationships. Recovery was slow, but Emily emerged stronger, her spirit unbroken. She encouraged me to explore my feelings, a selfless act that deepened my admiration. "Go talk to him," she said one day. I did, meeting Alex at a quiet cafe overlooking Lake Michigan. Waves crashed below as we bared our souls. "I think I'm gay," I admitted for the first time aloud. The words liberated and terrified. Alex shared his journey, the therapy that helped him navigate family estrangement. But external pressures mounted. Emily's parents threatened to cut off financial help if I chose that lifestyle. It was a stark reminder of economic vulnerabilities in marriages complicated by disability and orientation. The turning point came at a pride event Alex invited me to, disguised as a friend outing. Amid the vibrant crowds, I felt a sense of belonging I'd never known. But a photo of us circulated online, sparking backlash. Emily's sister accused me of betrayal, igniting family drama. "How dare you parade around while she's suffering?" The accusation stung, highlighting the intersection of ableism and homophobia, society's tendency to infantilize the disabled while demonizing queer awakenings. I returned home conflicted, Emily waiting with open arms. "Did you find clarity?" she asked. I nodded, but the path ahead was murky, fraught with choices that could shatter lives. Tensions peaked when Alex received a promotion offer in another city, Seattle, a fresh start away from Chicago's judgments. "Come with me," he pleaded in a heartfelt moment by the river where it all began. The proposal was romantic yet divisive, forcing me to confront the ultimate dilemma. Stay with Emily out of duty or pursue happiness with Alex, risking accusations of abandonment. Society's voice echoed loudly. Media stories of similar cases debated endlessly, some calling it empowerment, others selfishness. As I weighed the options, Emily's quiet strength shone through. "I want you to be free," she said, but her eyes betrayed fear of solitude. The ultimatum from Alex hung in the air like a storm cloud over Chicago's skyline, demanding a decision that would redefine everything. I paced our apartment that night, Emily watching from her wheelchair with a mixture of resolve and sorrow. "Mark, I've been thinking," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Maybe it's time we consider separation. Not because I don't love you, but because we both deserve fullness." The words hit like a punch, unraveling the narrative I'd clung to. The sacrificial husband, the enduring couple against odds. But Emily's insight cut deep. She'd researched support groups for spouses of coming-out partners, understanding the emotional toll on all sides. Society's scrutiny amplified the drama. News outlets had picked up on similar stories, fueling debates about the ethics of leaving a disabled partner for self-discovery. Online trolls labeled me a villain, while advocates praised potential authenticity. Emily's family rallied against me, her mother calling daily with pleas laced with guilt. "Think of her future," she'd say. "Men aren't supposed to abandon their wives." The homophobic undertones were palpable, blending with ableist assumptions that Emily couldn't thrive alone. Yet, Alex represented hope, a life where I could embrace my identity without shame. His Seattle offer included a job lead for me in design, a city known for inclusivity. "We could build something real," he said during a clandestine walk in Grant Park, leaves rustling underfoot. Internal conflict raged. Memories of our wedding flashed. Emily radiant before the accident, vows spoken with naive certainty. Post-crash, I'd adapted, learning to navigate her needs, but at what cost? Therapy sessions I started secretly revealed repressed attractions dating back to adolescence, suppressed by a Midwestern upbringing that equated queerness with weakness. Alex's patience was a bomb, but pressure built when he set a deadline. "I can't wait forever." The choice felt impossible, pitting love against love. Emily, sensing my torment, arranged a meeting with a counselor specializing in mixed-orientation marriages, a controversial field criticized for sometimes encouraging stays that bred resentment. The session was eye-opening. The counselor, a neutral voice amid chaos, explored our dynamics. Emily's independence desires clashing with societal views of disability as helplessness. My emerging sexuality challenging marital norms. "Choices here aren't black and white," she said, "but authenticity often requires courage." Post-session, Emily and I shared a quiet dinner, reminiscing about good times. "Remember our trip to New York before everything?" She laughed. Nostalgia softened the edges, but reality intruded when Alex texted, pulling me back to the divide. External forces escalated the stakes. A local newspaper ran an anonymous piece on hidden lives in the heartland, mirroring our situation and sparking community backlash. Protests outside LGBTQ+ centers highlighted divides. Conservatives decrying family destruction, progressives advocating personal truth. I felt caught in the crossfire, my story becoming fodder for arguments about morality in modern America. Alex's family, more accepting, offered support via calls, contrasting sharply with Emily's relatives. "You're not alone," his sister said. But isolation gripped me during a solo drive to the suburbs, where I visited my own parents, estranged since my marriage, now potentially more so. Confronting them was brutal. "Mom, Dad, I think I'm gay," I blurted over coffee in their neat kitchen. Silence stretched, then eruption. Dad's disapproval, Mom's tears. "What about Emily? She's disabled. How can you leave her?" The question echoed societal judgments, ignoring nuances. Driving back, tears blurred the highway, the weight of expectations crushing. Alex met me at a diner, his embrace a rare comfort. "We'll face it together," he promised. But doubt lingered. Was this selfish flight or necessary growth? As fall painted the city in oranges and reds, Emily proposed a trial separation. "Live with Alex for a month," she suggested boldly. "See if it's right." The idea was radical, drawing criticism from all sides. Friends accused her of enabling infidelity. Others saw it as empowerment. I moved into Alex's modest apartment, a space filled with books and mementos of his firefighting career. Mornings brought shared coffee, evenings deep conversations, intimacy without pressure, focusing on emotional bonds. Yet, daily check-ins with Emily revealed her struggles. Navigating independence, fighting insurance battles alone. Guilt gnawed, amplified by a viral social media post from her sister decrying abandonment in the name of self-love. The experiment tested limits. Alex and I attended couples therapy, addressing fears of societal rejection. In America today, being gay is more accepted, but not without scars. the therapist noted. True enough, subtle discriminations at work, stares in public. But joy emerged. Simple dates, like picnics by the lake, where laughter flowed freely. Contrastingly, Emily thrived somewhat, joining a disability advocacy group, her voice growing stronger. I'm rediscovering myself too, she shared via video call. The setup sparked ethical debates among our circle. Was this polyamory light? A graceful exit? Controversies swirled, mirroring broader cultural shifts. Climax approached when Emily's health scare recurred. A fall during a solo outing, bruising her ego more than body. Rushing to her side, I faced the reality. My absence had consequences. Alex accompanied me, his support unwavering, but tension flared with her family present. This is your fault, her father accused. Defensiveness rose, but Emily defended me. No, it's life's complexity. The moment crystallized the drama. Love's many forms clashing with rigid norms. As we left the hospital, Alex squeezed my hand. Whatever you choose, I understand. But the pull between worlds intensified, forcing a reckoning. The reckoning came on a crisp autumn evening, as golden leaves swirled around us in Millennium Park. Emily, Alex, and I sat on a bench overlooking the bean sculpture, its reflective surface distorting our images like the twisted paths we traveled. We need to decide, Emily said, her tone resolute yet laced with vulnerability. The trial separation had illuminated truths. My love for Alex was profound, a romantic depth I'd never known. Yet, my bond with Emily remained, rooted in shared history and compassion. Society's lens magnified the controversy. Friends debated our modern mess at gatherings, some applauding boundary pushing, others decrying moral decay. Alex spoke first, his voice steady. I love you, Mark, but I won't force you to choose. His selflessness stung, echoing my own sacrifices. Emily nodded. And I love you both, in different ways. But clinging to the past might destroy us all. The conversation delved into logistics. Divorce amicably, cohabitation arrangements, financial splits. It was pragmatic yet heartbreaking, challenging norms that idolized lifelong monogamy, especially in disability contexts. What will people say? I worried aloud. Emily smiled wryly. Let them talk. We've lived for their approval too long. Post-meeting ripples spread. Filing for divorce ignited family fury. Emily's parents disowned her temporarily, calling it a betrayal of vows. Mine offered lukewarm support, strained by their biases. The LGBTQ+ community had mixed reactions. Some celebrated my coming out, others criticized the timing, labeling it queer awakening at another's expense. Online forums buzzed with polls. Is leaving a disabled spouse for a same-sex partner justifiable? Votes split, fueling heated arguments about intersectionality, how homophobia and ableism intertwine to judge personal choices. Alex and I deepened our relationship amid the chaos. Moving to Seattle loomed, but I hesitated, tied to Chicago's familiarity. We attended rallies for marriage equality, where stories of resilience inspired. We've come far, but judgment lingers, a speaker said. True. Subtle workplace discriminations for Alex, my freelance clients dropping hints of discomfort. Yet moments of bliss emerged. Weekend hikes in nearby forests, where nature's vastness dwarfed our dramas. This feels right, Alex murmured during one sunset. Doubt crept in, though visions of Emily alone haunted me. Emily, meanwhile, blossomed. With divorce proceedings underway, she secured a grant for adaptive housing, joining a network of disabled activists. I'm not a victim, she asserted in a blog post that went viral, sparking discussions on agency in relationships. Her strength alleviated some guilt, but not all. A pivotal confrontation occurred at a mediation session, where lawyers dissected our lives like specimens. Assets custody, no kids, but emotional ties, one noted dryly. Emily's eyes met mine across the table. We'll always be family, she whispered. Alex waited outside, his presence a silent promise. As winter neared, a scandal erupted. A tabloid leaked details of my pre-accident gigs, twisting them into salacious tales. Headlines screamed, "Husband's secret life leads to gay affair." Humiliation washed over us. Emily defended me publicly, calling it desperate measures in a flawed system. Alex stood firm, but his fire station faced internal grumblings, homophobia rearing its head. "Is it worth it?" I asked him one stormy night. He pulled me close. "You are." The ordeal bonded us, but exposed fractures. My lingering attachment to Emily, his impatience with delays. High drama unfolded at a holiday gathering Emily hosted. A neutral ground for closure. Families clashed. Accusations of selfishness, defenses of love's fluidity. Society evolves, Alex argued. Why cling to outdated rules? Emily's father stormed out, but her mother stayed, tears flowing. "I just want her happy." The evening ended in tentative peace, hugs exchanged amid unresolved tensions. Driving home with Alex, I reflected on the journey. From crash to confession, sacrifice to selfhood. Seattle beckoned with promise. Packing boxes symbolized rebirth, but farewells gutted me. Emily's send-off was poignant. A quiet dinner where we laughed over memories. "Go live your truth," she urged, handing me a photo album. Tears blurred the drive to the airport, Alex's hand in mine at anchor. Boarding the plane, Chicago receded, a chapter closing. Settling in Seattle brought fresh challenges. Rain-slicked streets mirrored my moody transitions. Therapy unpacked guilt. Community groups offered solidarity. Alex's new role thrived, our home a sanctuary of shared dreams. But news from Emily arrived sporadically. Her advocacy work flourishing, a new romance budding with a fellow activist. Relief mingled with melancholy. Had my choice empowered or wounded? Months later, at a quiet cafe, Alex proposed over coffee, a simple ring symbolizing commitment. "Will you?" Joy surged, but echoes of the past tempered it. Our wedding, intimate and affirming, contrasted sharply with my first. Friends from both worlds attending, a testament to growth. Yet, societal debates persisted. Articles questioning if such stories glorified disruption over stability. Life in Seattle unfolded like a new script, with Alex and me navigating the rhythms of partnership. Morning runs along the Puget Sound. Evenings debating politics over home-cooked meals. The city's progressive vibe eased some burdens, but internal scars lingered. Therapy sessions delved deeper, unpacking the guilt of leaving Emily, affirming my identity without apology. "You're not a villain," the counselor reiterated. "You're human." Alex's unwavering support was the glue, his firefighting tales a reminder of resilience. But occasional calls from Chicago stirred unrest. Emily's updates on her thriving life, now including travel with her advocacy group and a budding relationship with a kind-hearted colleague named Sarah, who understood disability's nuances. Society's echo chamber amplified lingering controversies. A podcast episode featured anonymized versions of our story, sparking listener debates. Does personal happiness justify appending a dependent's life? Comments flooded in, some empathetic, others vitriolic. It highlighted America's divided soul, coastal inclusivity versus heartland traditions, where queer narratives clashed with family ideals. Alex and I volunteered at LGBTQ+ centers, sharing our journey to help others, but backlash followed. Conservative outlets branding us as agenda pushers. "Ignore them," Alex advised. Easier said than done when old friends distanced themselves. A year post-move, crisis revisited. Emily's health declined, a complication from her original injury, requiring surgery. Panic gripped me. Alex booked flights immediately. Arriving at the Chicago hospital, familiarity washed over. The same sterile halls where our paths first intertwined. Emily looked frail but spirited. "You came," she smiled weakly. Her family, thawed somewhat, acknowledged Alex politely. Hours by her bedside rekindled bonds. Stories shared. Laughter amid monitors' beeps. "I'm proud of you," she whispered. Recovery was swift, her network robust now. But the visit unearthed buried emotions. What-ifs about staying, the pain of divergence. Back in Seattle, reflection deepened. Alex noticed my introspection. Regrets? He asked gently. Not you, I assured. Just the cost. Our relationship evolved, facing tests like any couple. Work stresses, differing views on adoption. But love anchored us, a quiet defiance against norms that once confined. Emily's full recovery brought closure. Her wedding to Sarah, a joyous event we attended, symbolized mutual liberation. Full circle, she toasted at the reception, families mingling awkwardly yet harmoniously. As time passed, our story faded from public discourse, but personal growth endured. I resumed graphic design, channeling experiences into art advocating for queer and disabled rights. Alex rose in his department, mentoring young firefighters on inclusivity. Together, we hosted dinners for misfits, those navigating identity's gray areas. Society's progress felt tangible, yet incomplete. Laws advanced, but hearts lagged. In quiet moments, doubts surfaced. Had my sacrifice for Emily been noble, or a delay of inevitable truth? Alex's rescue, literal and metaphorical, saved me, but at what ethical price? The drama of our lives, with its kinks and controversies, taught that love defies neat categories. Was it right to prioritize personal authenticity over marital vows when a partner's vulnerability is at stake?